Good morning. Welcome to High Road to You. This is Mark Stofer. And in this video, I want to tell you a story about something that really made a huge impact in my life. And I hope it inspires and encourages you to take the necessary actions potentially in your life to overcome and thrive. And this is a story about Gene Allen. Right? He was a neighbor of mine. And I was building a house from raw land. And it was quite overwhelming. It was a lot of work. It was my first attempt owner builder, and it was quite challenging. I was overwhelmed, to say the least. And what I learned from Gene Allen was this: he came down and he heard all the work going on, the construction, and then he invited me over to his place. And at this point in time in his life, he had a bypass, so it was kind of a wake-up call to kind of assess where he was at in his life. And he wanted to move and sell his property and move into a retirement community with his wife. And so he walked me up the ridge and walked onto his property, and I saw this house under construction. And then there was a trailer off to the side. And he said, I started this over 20 years ago, and I've been trying to get the final. And now I really want to move on with my life. And, as we walked out onto this property, and then I was going to walk out onto the deck, is beautiful. He would have an ocean view, but the trees had grown and kind of blocked the view. And, he said, oh, no, don't walk out there, and it was dangerous. His wife would eventually fall through the deck and break her leg. And so, it was one of those things where, I went to open the door, and it was weathered shut. I mean, you couldn't open it. It was just, you could see where, he got to one end of the house, and then he had to go back and start over where he started, because there was a lot of dry rot. There was a lot of, elements that took over, and really the work had to be redone. So the point I'm trying to make here is this: is that a lot of us get on this treadmill. We're not on this earth to serve our stuff. We're not on this earth to basically, cater to, this ongoing battle of keeping up with our material possessions. And so Gene Allen basically said, look, don't make the same mistake I did. I wish that I had a crew. Every time I brought a crew in and I was working, my wife would panic and say, you better come, and they don't know what they're doing, and da-da-da. And I experienced that firsthand. I was helping him cut these trees back to give him a view, increase the value of his property $100,000, because he had an ocean view. You could see the sunset into the horizon, looking out to the west of his house. And we were doing a great job, and she came out. She got frazzled about him driving the truck, and we were hauling all this material that I was cutting down, the canopies that I cut down. She just panicked, and I said, it's okay, Gail, it's okay. We're fine. Everything's moving along. I have to get this stuff out of my way. And she just panicked, and he panicked, and then he got the truck stuck. And then, he just threw his hands up and head down and tail between his legs. And he says, look, let's call it a day. And I got to experience firsthand why, he was in the situation that he was in. And then at the same time, it was just, when you're under construction, you have to make a very big mess before you can clean it up. And generally speaking, what you want to do is, eventually clean it all up, and then, be proud of what you've accomplished, and not, drive past, piles of crap and construction material and, garbage. And, it's just one of those things where at some point in time you have to finish. And then you have to enjoy the fruit of your labor and move into, the house if you're building a house. And no matter what you're building. But again, it comes down to the foundational principle that we're not here to serve our stuff. It needs to serve us, right? And if it's not serving you, I would highly recommend that you downsize. If you have storage units and you're working for the storage company, you shut the door and you haven't looked at the material or whatever's in there for 10, 20 years. I know people that have storage that have had that for that long, and then they open it up and they can't even give it away to the Goodwill or the Salvation Army because it's outdated. And in that regard, if you can sell anything, travel trailers, boats, cars that you're not using, that are deteriorating, sitting there. It's better that the money is in your pocket or in your bank accounts, so that your money's working for you. Your material possessions are working for you. You're not working for it. And so you have to make that shift. And I know it's hard in the Western culture, but Gene Allen really, really impacted my mind and my heart at that moment, and saying, don't make the same mistake. I don't know my kids. I didn't enjoy my life. And now, I want to get out of this situation that I'm in and go find a retirement in Arizona. And he ended up passing away. He didn't. The house was outdated. The work that needed to be done just wasn't enough. Cutting back the trees and creating this ocean view wasn't enough to see it come to a good end. But it did teach me a lesson, and I think I've instilled in my kids, we're not here to throw things. We're here to build things that bless people, and everything on this planet should be serving us and others, and not the other way around. So with that, I hope this reaches your heart and your mind, and I hope it inspires you and encourages you to take the necessary actions in your life. And I know it can be hard. Sometimes you have to separate yourself from family and friends and people that, if you're stuck in that zone, you have to separate yourself from that and lead by example. So with that, I wish you well.